Well, hello everyone and welcome. Thanks for joining. My name is Dave Sloan, and today I'm going to run through Megaport Internet with a quick demo on deploying Megaport Internet within our portal. And this is part of the ongoing series of the Megaport Live Tech drop-ins. Okay, but for some context and to level set, Megaport's proposition is based on the concept of Network as a Service, or NAS. NAS provides the network in a way that's much more aligned with cloud subscription models, with services being available on demand and in near real time. NAS provides the underlay building blocks for organizations like yourselves to deploy a whole host of technical solutions to match your operational business requirements. And so what makes NAS different? Well, it's the reach. Megaport's NAS is part of a virtualized global ecosystem built on pre-existing hardware. This gives you the ability to deploy capacity to all the well-known cloud service providers, giving access to thousands of IT-based services, as well as having connectivity to our 930 plus data centers across the globe. And this can all be done in near real time in a software-defined manner. NAS also has very predictable performance. It's like having your own private fiber lines. Your data travels on our private global network with no internet in the core. And all these components can be linked together with virtualized network cross connects, and we call them VXCs, and they are typically layer 2 MPLS pseudo wires. And all this has the added benefit of making it highly secure. You pay for only the capacity you wish to deploy, as it's pre-built and virtualized, and then you can scale that capacity up and down on demand, and you no longer have to worry about traffic spikes or wasted capacity. So this ensures that your end user's application performance is excellent. And the Megaport on-demand components are very versatile, allowing you the ability to launch virtual cross connects across our network, to create internet connections to physical ports within our data centers, to connect to devices within our network like virtual routers, virtual firewalls, and virtual SD-WAN elements, all within our Megaport network. And this facilitates connections to branch locations or those critical remote resources or nomadic workers. This makes NAS services very cost effective. This can all be designed, deployed, and fully operational in minutes, and can be available for only the term you need. This reduces your upfront infrastructure costs to zero, as your Megaport assets are virtual and require no capital investment or hardware provision. And you can design, deploy, manage, and monitor it all on a single portal. It's a simple point and click. You bring your cloud service keys, and this makes establishing private connectivity simple. But for those with more sophisticated needs, both Terraform and API builds calls are available for a whole host of deployment and management scenarios. So here's a quick snapshot of our global reach. And as I said, you can access Megaport in over 930 locations across the globe. What isn't actually shown on this is Brazil is also available. But there are two types of locations where you can connect to Megaport's network. There's an installed location, and these locations contain Megaport hardware. And there's an enabled location, and these locations share the same campus or metro areas as Megaport installed locations. Megaport hardware is not located within the enabled location facility, but you can access it through a private intra-campus or intra-metro cross-connect. And as you can see, outside of Brazil, we have really strong presence in NAM, EMEA, and APAC. So the Megaport Internet product. Here's a quick overview of the devices and services we can connect to the Megaport Internet products. So the first one really is the device at the top in blue, and that's the port. And this is a physical connection point to Megaport within a data center. You connect your infrastructure via a cross connect, and this can go into your router or SD-WAN element and we have capabilities with ports ranging from 1 gig to 100 gig, and ports are available in over those 930 data centers globally, and they are ready for immediate use. The green device, MCR, is a Megaport cloud router. And this is a virtual layer 3 routing service, represented here as a single VRF, and it enables seamless traffic exchange between two or more cloud environments, including internet connectivity. It's available in over 90 locations without requiring any physical infrastructure. It acts as a transit point for the edge for multi-cloud and hybrid deployments. And then there's the Megaport Virtual Edge, the red device. The MVE creates a virtual point of presence in the same way that the MCR does, but it is an on-demand virtual network function platform. And this allows you to deploy SD-WAN gateways, virtual routers and firewalls using your own license for many of the top vendors within minutes. With coverage in over 90 global locations, MVEs are ideal for extending your network to the edge and bridging public and private routing domains together securely. So what do we offer with the internet proposition? Well, we offer immediately scalable and orderable from 20 meg to 10 gig with larger bandwidths available on request. We offer flexible terms, including committed bandwidth on term and increased capacity available by the hour for peaks in internet traffic. And it's all fully deployable via API in Terraform. Our standard service uses static routing with a single /31 IP4 address or an IPv6 address. A simple, easy to set up method ideal for small or predictable networks. And for more sophisticated users, you can bring your own PI space and advertise this using BGP. And we offer a range of resiliency options to improve availability and business continuity. We can provide additional IP addresses and allow the use of private ASs, which means you can use BGP even if you don't have your own PI allocation. And we offer default to full table route advertisements. And what I'm going to do is now jump on the Megaport portal to show you how quickly you can provision Megaport internet to ports in London, on an MCR in Paris, an MVE in Frankfurt, and I will outline the diversity zones within each of those environments. So let's just pick this up. Okay, here we have the Megaport portal. And first off, we'll go to the port in London. So this port is located in Digital Realty in London, and I have it allocated already. I have an LOA, so I can give that to my the data center, and they can build it out to my own equipment or my own cage. So I collect connection. I've got a whole host of services here, which are covered on other Megaport live sessions. But in this particular instance, we're interested in Megaport Internet. So I have a port in a diversity zone blue, and I can select from either of these two red or blue diversity zones. In fact, the red diversity zone is actually more local to me with a lower latency to that internet access router. But because I'm maintaining some continuity, I'm going to select to the blue Telehouse North zone. So I'm going to select there. The next thing is I have to give the service a name. We do auto-populate this, but you can overwrite that if you see fit, if you have your own naming conventions internally. There is a service level reference, which is an area for free text if you want to populate that with PO references or internal reference numbers for your own troubleshooting. And then we have to set the rate limit. So here we can have a max of 10 gig. I'm going to select 2 gig in this particular instance. And then we've got some useful information here. The actual VXC or the virtual cross connect I mentioned earlier, we can enable that or shut it down. So this is great for disaster recovery or business continuity testing. You can do this without deleting the service. And if you choose to, you can leave the service untagged as such, or you can auto assign a VLAN, which we'll do. We'll assign a VLAN on that port, or you can set a VLAN. In this particular instance, I'm going to allow that to auto assign. And then we come on to the commercials. So we have from no minimum term, so effectively by the hour, all the way through to 12, 24, and 36-month offers. And as you can see, there is discounts for taking things on term. And then you have the ability to automatically renew at the end of the same price at the end of the contract term if you choose to. Further on, we've got some useful, if you want to manually insert resource tags for API calls, then you can actually do that. So in this particular instance, I won't. I'll click next. This gives me a summary of the service I'm about to buy. So it's saying that I'm in Megaport Internet in LRH20. I'm going to build an internet connection into Telehouse North. I've got the speed. I've got no tags. And the pricing, and then I move on and just select add that VXC. I review that order and I place that order. So that order is now being placed, and that's how simple it is for the port. Now we'll move on to MCR. It's very much the same process. Connection, Megaport Internet. Because my MCR is in a red zone, I'm going to select red this time, and it's local. It's got sub 1 millisecond latency. I'll click next. I've got all the same fields. I'm going to select my rate limit. In this particular instance, I only built a 1 gig MCR, so the rate limit is maxed by that rate limit of the MCR, but you can, if you build bigger MCRs, effectively have larger internet connections. I can still shut down my VXC. I can still select my terms. I can still select my automatic renewal and my API tags. I click next there. I add the VXC, and I can review my order. It makes an API call in to make sure the order is legitimate, and then it just begins the deployment process. Okay. So finally, we're on to MVEs. This is where you bring, just to recap, that's where you bring your own license. So this is set up as a Cisco MVE, but it could be, we've got Fortinet, we've got a whole raft of different devices. And if you're interested, please reach out to your Megaport account team. We click connection and we hit Megaport Internet again. Now this is a little bit different because you've got the choice of breaking out anywhere on the planet. So you've got the options for Frankfurt, and I could go blue to blue if I chose to, but I could break out in Amsterdam, I could break out in Paris, I could break out, and as you go further away, those latencies become higher, but you can break out further and further away. So I could break out in New York, and it's a very long list, but I will just in this instance break out in Frankfurt. So let's go back to the top of the list, select Frankfurt, scroll down to the end of the list, click next. All the same information. I'm going to select a rate limit of 3 gig this time. So we can enable or shut down. We've got the tagging, we've got the free text, we've the pricing options that are available, and the API tags. Click next, summary again, and that VXC, review that order, and order that service. So, okay, so you could say, well, okay, that's great. I don't know what my IP addressing is. However, it's already in here. So if I go onto the service I've just procured, I look in VXC details and I scroll up to the I, which has all the details on. And here is your assigned IPv4 address, your /31 for IPv4, your assigned IPv6 address with a /64 there, and this is your gateway address for your default routes or your routing outwards into the World Wide Web. So that's all very useful and very handy. So let's just move on. So let me just check to see if we have any questions at this point. Okay, so a question that's commonly asked, and it's been asked again, is do we support 95th percentile billing? As this one comes up quite a lot, actually. Unfortunately, Megaport does not. However, you can flex using a range of flexible bandwidth options. So you can take a proportion of say, a 1 gig service on term, and then you could flex that up and you would take that on a monthly basis, the delta between the one and say the 2 gig. So you would do 1 gig on contract term, and then you do the other 1 gig on no minimum term. So I hope that answers the question. And the next question we commonly get asked is, where are the 16 countries you offer? Well, if you're interested in in any of the countries or this product, please contact your Megaport account team, as we are constantly growing this proposition. But we have countries like the US, Brazil, UK, Germany, France, Australia, Singapore, Hong Kong, to name but a few. Okay, so thank you for those questions. So just to recap, the Megaport Internet allows your organization to have internet capability whilst requiring no upfront investment from just a minimum hourly term. It creates an instant point of presence in up to 16 countries, only requiring a small amount of configuration, and it's great for projects short and long term. It's easy to deploy with easy to follow documentation on our website. Okay, so I hope this has been useful, and please look out for other Megaport live sessions as they are great sound bites to see what's evolving in the world of cloud and network connectivity. So until then, thank you and goodbye.